a year ago, and I have begun to see it absolutely all over the internet, being copied and pasted, and I guess that's a badge of honor. Hey, Jeff, I guess that talk with Dave at livethemotto.blogspot.com got you all fired up about guns, and you want to do the rest of the show about guns.
Absolutely. That's about my favorite topic. I mean, everything about guns, shooting ranges and calibers, and just the whole feeling of carrying and how it's the ultimate. I mean, I think I've always placed it as number two. An order of importance of things that keep us safe are number one, spirituality, two, guns, and three, family. Those are the things that keep people strong. And notice where guns is placed there. You know, you think of Thomas Jefferson saying that he always wanted to keep it on the companion on his walks, just for the peace of mind, for how it made him feel. It's a spiritual item, the gun is, really.
Well, once I got up to Montana, I've always had a rifle, usually a 12 gauge and a 30-30 or something, and then when I got to Montana and I really started to wake up and learn what was really going on, the infringement on our freedoms, and this plot of the New World Order, I started, that was my response, is to stock up with guns, because I knew a fight was, possible, and I'm just not going to go quietly out. They got to take it, and I mean my life, because there's no way I'm going to live if I'm not going to have freedom. I don't see the point of life without freedom. And like you said, guns can do that. What sort of firearms do you have for self-defense?
I've got a whole bunch, actually. A lot of people have told me, don't say that on air, Jeff, don't say that on air, because if there's any police out there, they could, stage, if they wanted to, swipe some of those, they could stage a fake raid in your house just for some reason. And I'm like, that's the wrong attitude. That's when you open fire. That we have to stand up. If you're sitting there afraid to die all the time, then you're not going to be worth much of anything in the possible fight we have coming up. You have to get to that founding father, militiaman. I mean, militia in the true sense, back in 1776. You have to get to that attitude. But anyways, as far as the kind of firearms I have, well, let's just start with my favorite one. Probably my favorite, it's hard to tell what my favorite gun is that I own, but probably my AR-15. I've got the little pistol. Well, it's not that little, but it's just shortened up a bit. And then when that thing fires, I mean, that round is going about 32 to 3,500 feet per second. And that's just an incredible velocity coming out of a gun that size, only about 1.5 feet long. And when you have something like that, it changes your whole psyche about what kind of protection you have. Because it's basically, in any kind of, the only kind of situation it won't work is concealed carry. And I'm sort of against concealed carry. I think I'm all about open carry, personally.
Yeah.
I think concealed carry is a big trick, as, probably a lot of listeners also believe. But, a gun like firing a .223 round like that, it's not very cumbersome, compared to a big Sega 12-gauge shotgun, for example, which is, another top-level weapon. But the little AR, you can keep it under a big coat, really, or just sling it over your back with a harness, and you wouldn't even really know the difference walking around with it, and it's just, and it looks cool as well. So that's my number one favorite gun. How about you, John?
Oh man, I probably have I think 15, but I got both my daughters. I gave them my 12 gauges. So I've got to go out and get another 12 gauge, because I'm a big fan of a 12 gauge shotgun, folks. And one of them lives in a standalone house, and the other one was in an apartment. So I made sure that she had some small shot rather than slugs. But I taught my daughters at the age of 4 and 6 how to break down, clean, and put back together an SKS. That was school for a day. And I tell you, here's my thinking with children, is if you bring this gun into the house and you kind of try to not let them see it, and then if they do, you're like, okay, you stay away from this. What you do is you create the atmosphere of where that kid wants to sneak in there and see what's going on, and then, you know, they're going to do that when you're not there, and then that's the potential of having danger, right? So my approach was the exact opposite, to bring it home, lay it on the coffee table, and talk about it and why I have it, and explain, how to break it down. And so they got all into it, and we were sitting there cleaning it all up, putting it back together, and we broke it down. We probably broke that thing down 2 or 3 times that day, and they got an A for the day of putting guns together. But, I'm a big, I've got a picture, matter of fact, a couple of them. If you guys want to check out what I've got, or some of what I've got, is at my blog, bigjohnlipscomb.blogspot.com. And if you have to go to the January section and then scroll down, let's see, clear to the bottom in the January section, and you will see a couple photographs of about 10 of my guns. I've got, a 223, 308, 2 AK-47s, and someone emailed me and said, man, dude, why do you have 2 AK-47s? And I said, well, my wife is capable of shooting an AK-47, and because she's the same mindset of me, so why not? And then, like I said, I got a couple 12 gauges, 2 22s, one's a pump and one's a semi-automatic cartridge, and then I've got a 45 and a 40. I'm well stocked up, and I probably have 250,000 rounds of ammo. But I also live about a quarter of a mile from the coolest shooting range in Kansas. It's this guy that just owns this property, and it's probably 500 yards deep, and then there's a cliff, there's a river, and then a cliff, and this cliff goes up about 200 feet. And so what a perfect backdrop for a shooting range. But so what do you have as far as shooting ranges in your area?
Well, let me first respond to you, if you don't mind, about the daughters.
Sure.
That's just so important. My daughters are 3, and then the other one's going to be 6 in a couple days. And, they know all about guns. They know the whole philosophy of guns, why we need them. You need them for protection, but most importantly, you need them to keep government. I mean, my daughters literally know this, and there's no problem with that. They know that government's the problem, and that the reason we have to have guns is to protect ourselves from, because if we don't, we just turn into slaves. And they know, I had my 50 caliber Desert Eagle out a little earlier today, and, the girls are all, oh, yeah, cool, they want to see it and everything. Yeah, there's an aura of absolute peacefulness regarding them, and they know it's something that they'll be able to fire. They know I've already bought each of them 22 Marlins rifles for when they get to be, I'm not sure what age we'll start them off at, but, it'll be, 8 or 10 or something. And it's all a really positive experience. There's no danger or anything. People, the anti-gun crowd, there's so many anti-gun people here in this city where Purdue University is, where I live. And, they come up with a million reasons why guns are bad. Oh, you might shoot yourself, or, oh, you can't have one in your house. I had one lady saying, if you have guns in your house, your daughters will have nightmares. And I'm like, what? You let your kids watch 19 hours of TV a day with all this violence and everything, and I'm going to give them nightmares. It's just pretty crazy. But as far as shooting ranges, the whole gun culture is just such a wonderful thing to be in. I find, I've worked in the universities for 10 years, and I find the intellectual crowd was not there. Those people were just a bunch of dopes. And I find when I go to the shooting range, everybody's there talking about Thomas Jefferson, Constitution, founders and Federalist Papers and the whole deal. It's just I just love to go down there and just to talk. to them. But my shooting range actually was shut down by the EPA, and I published a big news article on that story. And before I forget, John, actually I have a picture of the AR-15 I was just referring to on the internet also. If anybody goes to YouTube and looks up The Truth About Guns, just type in The Truth About Guns in YouTube, you'll come to a video series I made last year on the Antimatter radio show about all these statistics and how